Welcome to this episode of EdTalk. Just like a TED Talk, just a little shorter. Going to be talking about what the mud flood is. A lot of my research has different points of interest, and one of them is the mud flood, which people often encompass as a whole umbrella term, often akin to using Tartaria as all of one summation. But today we're going to be looking at what the mud flood of recent times was and how to recognize and see what we refer to. But thank you for joining. So what we're going to be paying attention to is the roads. For this presentation, we're going to be looking at the roads and how the road was added after the construction of the buildings. Anyone that has ever constructed a building knows that they would build the roads first and then build the building. But what we see over and over again in many examples is the level of ground floor of these buildings is not where the roads are and have been changed at least a few times. We see examples of a big discrepancy of what we consider street level, and then we see cities basically underneath. So by doing more and more research, you can start to pick up on things that you would normally walk by without second guessing, walking down this nice side street. But then to think, how was this building constructed in a way where the road now is getting higher? The road is not level to the adjacent building. It's like the road was added after the building, which is clear. Something like this wouldn't make you think twice if we were playing tag outside waiting for someone to get out of that office and drive us to the park to play. It's just a hill. But you have to wonder, now with a different set of eyes, that the building itself is level and was constructed upon a time. So we theorize that the mud flood was an addition of Earth onto pretty much all of Earth as far as it goes, is worldwide storyline. Now look at the ground. See how it changes and is not level the road. The road was excavated to a point. Now, as everything been excavated, if Earth was added in the United States, that sounds insane. But here we see somebody in a different country, perhaps. It wouldn't seem far-fetched at all. Why would it be odd that in the United States, some of these discoveries are just unheard of? This was clearly excavated, cleaned up, probably much more of it. But that's okay as long as that's in a another country, in India or Pakistan or Turkey, that would be acceptable with our history books. But not so much in America. Why does this building have no front door? Things like that. They're not all these ancient-looking castle-style buildings. They are buildings that we have now that are still part of an infrastructure that was covered with a lot of earth. The mud flood said to happen before the reset, before 1776 and the repopulation. And this is not the original road or height of the road. How far off is it? How far off could it be? Could be quite far. Here's a picture of an excavation. So we see the height of at least 5 men, 4 or 5 men. And assumingly that amount of earth would have been consistently excavated from this site here. Our Capitol buildings, we know, we've seen pictures like this in the press. Often Capitol buildings, when they're going through reconstructing or refurbishing these buildings or working on them, they really close it off to the public, but this is not an addition. Was this the original first floor? Are the floors that we see only the top of some structures? Were they not the original entrances to these buildings? Were these levels chosen, these dirt road levels, organized at certain points for various resets? Think of the logistics behind this. It wouldn't be confusing, but we have windows. Wait, did they just add a couple of feet to this? No. It's been a long time, right? Of course. Once it soaks in, it's the kind of thing you cannot unsee once you see this. Here again, we look at the road and the bottom floor of this building. It looks as if this is not the original road level of this building. We can see where the original foundation is, where the top of this ladder was, where they, for X amount of years, used that as the front door. Now it seems that there's another front door, perhaps. And is that another timeline, like the rings of a tree? Is this an adjustable template of adding and removing layers of dirt so we can repopulate these places? And this isn't about confirming the falsified evidence of construction dates of these buildings here. This is to show that there is a significant amount of earth that was excavated in North America, and there's a significant amount still there. Oh, we're not in Kansas anymore, but it was excavated. So excavated to what point? Okay, so we know that Turtle Island, and most likely the entire land, was excavated. But to what level did they decide to go no further? When did they decide this is okay for this 365-year embodiment of growing the sea monkeys here in the test tube, or whatever we're doing here? And so they set it up as need be, perhaps. It's clearly proven in the story of Rome and the excavation of Rome. Oh, the mighty Rome. Did this building change? Did something happen in the last 150? No. It's always been like this, but why would anybody ask a question, especially if the whole town is like this? It's just easy to overlook unless you have seen it, and then you'll start seeing them everywhere. You'll see the buildings in the cities near your home. What do we see on the ground on this lower level that seems not the original? Was probably the highest dirt we see, right where the stairwell ends. And then we see a lot of other layers, but down on the road, it looks like there are tracks already there. So is that infrastructure? Are those train tracks? Is that lower levels of infrastructure? These subways and tunnel systems, maybe they were on the road, maybe like Futurama with the tubes in the air. Maybe it wasn't even underground, but we considered all this underground stuff. Maybe it's only underground because it's literally under some ground. People say, where did this mud come from? I think there's probably a hint in the word mud flood. I believe it's probably a flood and then sediment, but a controlled flood perhaps. The idea of liquefaction, of vibrating the earth so it can cause things to sink. Nothing sank. Nothing sank. Dirt was added. Earth was added. I know in my sight nothing was sinking with everything so perfectly level. This building did not sink into the ground here, but other than sinking, the road you see now is a false road, so to say. But is that just a few feet? Oh, wait a minute. That could be how deep does it go? And how was the OG construction? And what was the earth like? Grass will grow. Now this is a great example here, right? This building. And then what do we have here? Is this just the basement, the subfloor? Is this just like, hey, look, it's what they put underneath? How much of it's meant to be hidden and not found? And you see this, oh yeah, wow, there's stuff under there. But look at the columns, I guess, is a big giveaway here. These Romanesque columns underneath? I don't imagine those are support structures for this. I would like some hard facts on that, of course, but maybe the most beautiful castles aren't destroyed in this earth. Maybe they're underneath and wash it all away someday, huh? As we cannot unsee the road that was added and cleaned and separated. Well, I thank you. This has been a overview of what we like to call mud floods. So this is a general idea. I'll be digging. You stay digging. Make sure you like and subscribe. My link tree is in my bio. Christmas is here. If you can give, I promise to serve. Thank you. Everyone have a great day.